What if the people telling you to go to school, get a job, and play it safe were keeping you broke? In this chapter, Robert Kiyosaki introduces us to the two men who shaped his thinking: his highly educated biological father, poor dad, and his best friend's father, rich dad, a man who never finished 8th grade but became one of the richest men in Hawaii. This chapter flips the script on how most people think about money. Let's dive into the mindset shift that started it all. Robert had two father figures growing up. One was highly educated with a stable job, the other was a self-made businessman with limited formal schooling. The two men had different views about money, work, and success. From an early age, Robert started to notice how their advice often conflicted. At 9 years old, Robert and his friend Mike realized they were not part of the rich kid circle at school. This desire to become rich led them to the idea of actually making their own money, literally. Their first experiment? Trying to melt down toothpaste tubes made of lead to form their own coins. Needless to say, it didn't work. After their coin-making idea failed, they approached Mike's dad, the rich dad, and asked how to get rich. Instead of giving them a lecture, Rich Dad offered them a lesson, a real-world education that started with hard work and little pay. Rich Dad hired the boys to work in one of his small stores. They were paid 10 cents an hour, way below minimum wage, even by the standards of the 1950s. Robert was frustrated. He felt like he was being used. But that frustration was part of the lesson. Rich Dad explained that most people let fear and desire control their lives. Fear of not having money drives people to take jobs just to survive. Then once they start earning, desire kicks in, they want more. So they work harder, hoping for raises or promotions. It's a never-ending cycle: fear, work, pay, desire, repeat. This cycle is what Rich Dad called the rat race. Most people spend their lives trapped in it, working harder to earn more only to spend more. They never stop to ask, is there a smarter way to live? Rich Dad didn't want Robert and Mike to work for money. He wanted them to observe, learn, and think differently. He taught them that money is a tool, not a goal, and that if you don't learn how it works, you end up a slave to it. The core message of this chapter becomes clear: the rich don't work for money. Instead, they learn to create systems, build assets, and develop the mindset that puts money to work for them, while the poor and middle class trade time for a paycheck. So, what's the biggest lesson here? Don't work just to earn, work to learn. Observe the systems around you, understand money, and break free from the rat race. Let me know in the comments. Have you ever felt stuck working just for a paycheck? What would you do differently after hearing this? If this gave you something to think about, go ahead and hit like, subscribe to Chapters and Clarity, and don't forget to turn on notifications so you won't miss Chapter 2. Why teach financial literacy? This chapter flips the script on how most people think about money. Let's dive into the mindset shift that started it all. Robert Kiyosaki makes one thing clear: the key to long-term wealth isn't just earning more, it's understanding money. Financial literacy is the foundation. Without it, even a six-figure salary can lead to debt, stress, and zero savings. It's not about how much you make. It's about how much you keep and how smartly you use it. Kiyosaki introduces a rule that sounds simple, but it changes everything. Assets put money in your pocket. Liabilities take money out. Most people think their house is an asset, but if it's costing you monthly mortgage, maintenance, and taxes, and not generating income, it's actually a liability. That's a powerful shift in perspective. Many people, especially in the middle class, buy things that look like success: cars, designer clothes, or the latest tech. But they're often bought with borrowed money or at the cost of long-term savings. These are liabilities, not investments. Over time, they quietly drain wealth instead of building it. Instead of chasing expensive things early, the rich focus on buying assets, like rental properties, dividend-paying stocks, or small businesses. These assets produce income. Over time, that income funds their lifestyle, not their salary. It's delayed gratification with a big payoff. Here's the catch: most schools don't teach us anything about money. We're taught how to earn a paycheck, not how to manage it, grow it, or invest it. That's why Kiyosaki stresses learning financial terms, like cash flow, ROI, and equity, as early as possible. It's a new kind of literacy and it pays off for life. One of the most important habits? Pay yourself first. Before you pay bills or spend, put money into savings or investments. It forces discipline and builds your asset base, even if you start small. Over time, those choices create a financial cushion and, eventually, freedom. If this chapter helped reframe how you think about money, smash that like button. Share your favorite takeaway in the comments, and subscribe to Chapters and Clarity so you don't miss Chapter 3. Mind your own business. We're just getting started. This chapter flips the script on how most people think about income. Let's dive into why working a job isn't enough, and what the rich do instead. Most people are taught to get a good education, find a stable job, and climb the corporate ladder. But Robert Kiyosaki warns that this mindset keeps you stuck working for someone else's dream. You trade your time for money, and that money is taxed, spent, and gone before you can grow it. Mind your own business doesn't mean quit your job tomorrow. It means start building your financial future, on the side, in the background, quietly. That means owning assets. Things that pay you even when you're not working. Your goal? Make your money work harder than you do. While others focus on job titles and promotions, the rich focus on growing their asset column. Stocks, real estate, small businesses, intellectual property, these are the things that generate income long after the work is done. It's about ownership, not just effort. Kiyosaki points out something powerful. Your profession is how you earn a living. Your business is how you build wealth. An employee may be a teacher, but her business could be a portfolio of rental properties. A doctor might invest in tech startups. The goal is not just to earn, but to own. Most people spend all their money on expenses and luxuries. But the rich? They take a portion of what they earn and invest it in assets first. It's not about being frugal, it's about being strategic. Let your money create more money so you're not trapped in the 9 to 5 forever. You don't need a lot of money to start. Start with knowledge. Start with small investments. Start by tracking your spending and understanding where your money goes. Over time, those habits snowball into something powerful. This is how you mind your own business, quietly, consistently, and with purpose. If this chapter helped you see the difference between a paycheck and a plan, like this video, comment with the asset you're most interested in building, and subscribe to Chapters and Clarity so you don't miss Chapter 4, The History of Taxes and the Power of Corporations. This chapter flips the script on how taxes really work, and why the rich don't just pay less, they play by a different set of rules. Let's look at how corporations became the secret weapon of the wealthy. Taxes feel like a fact of life, but Kiyosaki argues they're more of a game, one the rich have learned to win. Most people work hard, get taxed first, and spend what's left. But the wealthy? They build legal structures that allow them to earn, spend, and then pay tax. That reversal changes everything. Originally, income taxes were introduced to tax the rich. But as government spending grew, the system shifted, and the tax burden quietly moved to the middle class. The rich, instead of resisting, adapted. They learned to protect their wealth with financial intelligence, while others kept working harder. A corporation isn't just for CEOs or billionaires. It's a legal entity that lets you separate yourself from your money. Through a corporation, you can deduct expenses, cars, travel, even meals, legally before taxes are applied. It's not a loophole, it's a rulebook few people bother to read. Kiyosaki highlights something the rich understand well. It's often better to control assets than to own them personally. A corporation allows you to control income, protect assets, and limit liability. That's how the rich stay rich, even when the economy gets shaky. Most schools teach nothing about taxes, accounting, or business structures. But these are the tools that shift your financial trajectory. You don't need to be an accountant, but you do need to understand the basics. The system favors those who know the game, not those who work the hardest. The rich don't avoid taxes illegally, they simply use the law to their advantage. They think ahead, hire smart advisors, and structure their lives intentionally. Kiyosaki isn't telling you to cheat the system. He's saying, learn it, then use it. That's financial intelligence. If this chapter opened your eyes to how money and taxes really work, give this video a like, drop a comment with your biggest takeaway, and don't forget to subscribe to Chapters and Clarity. Next up, Chapter 5, The Rich Invent Money. And trust me, it's a game changer. What separates those who get rich from those who stay stuck is not always hard work. It's creativity. In this chapter, Robert Kiyosaki shows how the rich invent money by spotting opportunities others miss. Let's break it down. Kiyosaki says something radical. The rich don't look for money, they create it. Most people believe wealth comes from having a good job or a high salary. But the rich think differently. They believe that wealth is about recognizing opportunities, taking calculated risks, and using your mind to solve problems others ignore. It's not about having money, it's about being resourceful with what you already have. According to Kiyosaki, financial intelligence is the foundation of wealth creation. It's the ability to understand money, taxes, investing, markets, and risk. The more you know, the more options you see. Where others see fear or confusion, the financially intelligent see opportunities to grow and build. That's how the rich invent money, by turning obstacles into cash flow. Kiyosaki makes a powerful point here. Opportunities are everywhere, but most people don't recognize them because they haven't trained their minds to see. A downturn in the market? The average person panics. The rich prepare to buy. An undervalued property? Most ignore it. The rich analyze, negotiate, and invest. The difference isn't luck, it's preparation. One of the richest insights in this chapter is the idea that the rich don't always use their own money. They find deals, structure them creatively, and leverage other people's money, time, or skills. Think about this: spotting a property deal, locking it in, and flipping or renting it out. That's inventing money. The deal didn't exist until they created it. That's the magic. Most people avoid investing because they fear risk. But Kiyosaki flips that thinking. He says, it's not risky if you know what you're doing. Financial education reduces risk. The real danger isn't in taking a chance. It's in blindly trusting a paycheck, a pension, or a job to keep you financially safe forever. The rich become rich because they practice financial thinking the same way athletes train physically. They read, take classes, attend seminars, analyze deals, and talk about money regularly. It's not just about ideas, it's about discipline. Over time, this mindset creates money-making instincts that seem almost automatic. Inventing money is a cycle. Learn, spot opportunity, take action, reflect, repeat. It's not a one-time trick. The more you do it, the better you get. The rich don't wait for the perfect opportunity, they create small wins consistently, and those wins stack into wealth. If you lost all your money today but kept your financial intelligence, you could rebuild. That's the difference. The average person wants to save money. The rich want to build money. They understand it's not just about what you have, it's about what you know how to do with what you have. Inspired by this chapter? Then don't just learn, start looking. What's one opportunity you've been overlooking? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that like button if this gave you a new mindset, and don't forget to subscribe to Chapters and Clarity. Next up is Chapter 6, Work to Learn, Don't Work for Money. And trust me, it flips the idea of careers upside down. What if the goal of work wasn't to earn a paycheck, but to gain the skills that make you financially unstoppable? In Chapter 6 of Rich Dad Poor Dad, Kiyosaki shifts our focus from earning to learning. This mindset could change your entire career trajectory. Let's break it down. Most people work for money. But according to Kiyosaki, the truly wealthy use work as a training ground. They don't chase promotions, they chase skills. Rich Dad told him early on, don't work for money. Work to learn. Why? Because money can come and go. But skills, especially financial and business skills, compound forever. In today's world, being a specialist can make you valuable to an employer, but it can also trap you. Kiyosaki warns that people who only know one thing, like accounting, coding, or teaching, often become dependent on their jobs. The rich, on the other hand, diversify their skills. They understand sales, marketing, investing, leadership, communication, and law. These skills give them control, not just a paycheck. Rich Dad encouraged Kiyosaki to move between jobs, not to climb the corporate ladder, but to gain new experiences. He took jobs in sales, marketing, investing, even the military, all to build a well-rounded financial IQ. To many, this looked like instability, but in reality, it was intentional. The goal wasn't income, it was education. So what should you be learning? Kiyosaki highlights 3 essential skills. 1. Sales, because if you can't sell your ideas, products, or vision, you'll always depend on someone who can. 2. Marketing, because attention is everything in the information age. 3. People management, because business is built on teams, negotiation, and emotional intelligence. These aren't extra skills, they're wealth-building tools. Kiyosaki is blunt. Schools don't teach people how to get rich, they teach them how to work for the rich. Most formal education is focused on job training. But if you want financial freedom, you need self-education. That means reading books, watching videos like this one, attending seminars, and, most importantly, applying what you learn in the real world. Another difference Kiyosaki points out: the rich learn to manage systems, money, and people. They step back from doing all the work themselves and instead focus on building systems that work for them. It's not about working harder, it's about working smarter and then scaling that smart work through others. Employees often think, how much will I get paid? Entrepreneurs think, what can I learn from this? Or, how can I turn this into an asset? That mindset shift, from earning to learning and from security to freedom, is the core of Chapter 6. The rich don't fear stepping outside their comfort zone. In fact, they make a habit of it. If you're stuck in a job just for the paycheck, Kiyosaki isn't telling you to quit today. He's telling you to start strategically building skills. Read sales books. Take a communication class. Watch videos about investing. Talk to mentors. Get curious. The long game isn't about income, it's about capability. And your skills can take you further than any employer ever will. What's one skill you don't have yet that could change your future? Share it in the comments, I'd love to hear it. If this chapter opened your eyes, like the video and subscribe to Chapters and Clarity. Next up is Chapter 7, Overcoming Obstacles. In this one, it'll challenge everything holding you back. Everyone wants to be rich, but very few ever get there. What? Not because they lack knowledge, but because they don't overcome the obstacles in the way. In Chapter 7 of Rich Dad Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki reveals the 5 things that stop most people from achieving financial freedom, and how the rich break through every one of them. According to Kiyosaki, most people know what they should do to become wealthy, but 5 internal forces keep them stuck: fear, cynicism, laziness, bad habits, and arrogance. These aren't external problems like job markets or the economy. They're internal walls we have to break through if we ever want to reach true financial independence. The number 1 fear? Losing money. Most people are so afraid of failure that they never take the first step. But Kiyosaki reminds us that losing is part of the game. The rich lose money all the time, they just learn from it and keep moving. He compares financial fear to falling off a bike. If you fall off, get up and ride again. You only lose if you quit. The real danger isn't losing, it's never trying. The second obstacle is that inner critic, or even worse, the voices of friends, family, and media who plant doubt in your mind. Kiyosaki calls this cynicism what-if thinking. What if I lose everything? What if the market crashes? What if it's a scam? The rich don't ignore these questions, but they balance them with research, learning, and action. Cynicism without action leads to paralysis. Action with education leads to progress. Most people are busier than ever, yet they're financially lazy. Instead of facing their finances, they avoid them. They say things like, I'm too busy to invest, or, I'll deal with money later. Kiyosaki calls this a form of denial disguised as productivity. The rich make time to understand money, build income streams, and manage risk. He says, busy people are often the laziest when it comes to financial education. Wealth isn't just about how much you make, it's about what you do with it. Kiyosaki stresses that paying yourself first is a habit that separates the rich from everyone else. Most people pay bills first, save last, and invest never. But rich people prioritize investing and saving, then figure out how to cover expenses. As he puts it, your habits shape your financial future. Good habits lead to freedom. Bad habits lead to fear. Arrogance is pretending you know everything, and it can be a silent killer of wealth. Kiyosaki says, what I know makes me money. What I don't know loses me money. Every time. The rich stay humble and curious. They constantly read, ask questions, and surround themselves with people who challenge them. The poor often dismiss new ideas. The rich lean into them and explore. These 5 obstacles aren't unique, they're universal. What matters is how you respond to them. Rich Dad taught Kiyosaki to see each obstacle not as a barrier, but as a challenge to be trained for, like a mental gym. Each time you overcome fear or laziness, you grow stronger. Each time you act in spite of cynicism, you build courage. That's the difference between financial victims and financial victors. So where do you start? Look honestly at which of the 5 obstacles is showing up in your life the most. Is it fear of failure? Procrastination? A habit of spending everything you make? You don't need to fix it overnight, but you do need to face it. Your future wealth depends more on this than any stock, job, or real estate deal. The rich aren't fearless. They're just trained. Which of these 5 obstacles is your biggest challenge right now? Fear, cynicism, laziness, bad habits, or arrogance? Drop it in the comments and let's help each other grow. If this chapter spoke to you, hit that like button and share it with a friend who needs a mindset shift. And don't forget to subscribe to Chapters and Clarity, where we turn best-selling books into breakthrough moments. Ever wonder where to start your journey toward financial freedom? In Chapter 8 of Rich Dad Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki lays out the actionable mindset shifts and habits that helped him go from broke to wealthy. This isn't about waiting for the perfect investment. It's about becoming the kind of person who creates wealth on purpose. Before you buy assets or launch a business, you have to train your mindset. Kiyosaki says most people want to know what to do to get rich, but they skip over who they need to become. He insists that getting rich starts with self-development. You don't need more money. You need a clearer reason and a stronger mind. Your external income will rarely exceed your internal identity. Kiyosaki's first step? Have a strong reason. He calls it your emotional motivator. Why do you want to be rich? Is it freedom? Family? Legacy? The reason has to be powerful enough to push you through fear, rejection, and setbacks. Without a why, you'll give up. With a clear why, you'll keep going, even when it's hard. Kiyosaki emphasizes that wealth is a choice, not a chance. Every day we choose what to learn, what to spend on, what to prioritize. Poor dad focused on job security. Rich dad focused on financial freedom. Both paths were chosen, one intentionally, one by default. Every dollar you earn is a chance to invest, grow, and learn. But only if you see it that way. If you want to get rich, you need to study money like your future depends on it, because it does. Kiyosaki says he didn't get wealthy by chasing dollars. He got wealthy by chasing financial education. He read, attended seminars, asked questions, and learned from mentors. Books, podcasts, courses, mistakes, they're all part of the journey. He says, the more you learn, the more you earn. Emotions, not economics, are what usually sink financial success. Kiyosaki argues that the rich develop emotional discipline, the ability to stay calm when markets drop, when fear creeps in, or when opportunities seem risky. This emotional control lets them move when others freeze. In short, if you don't master your emotions, money will master you. You don't need to be a real estate expert or stock picker to start. Kiyosaki recommends building skills in sales, marketing, investing, leadership, and communication. These are transferable wealth skills that pay dividends across industries. No matter what vehicle you choose, crypto, real estate, e-commerce, your skills will carry you forward. One of the most practical parts of Chapter 8 is this: start small but start now. Kiyosaki didn't buy a mansion or build a company overnight. He started with a single property. He looked at hundreds before choosing. He learned the numbers. He made mistakes. But he started. Most people never do. They wait until they feel ready, but readiness comes after action. Getting rich isn't a one-time leap, it's a repeating cycle. 1. Learn something new. 2. Take a small risk. 3. Reflect and adjust. 4. Repeat. Each time you go through the loop, your confidence, skill, and income grow. That's the compounding effect of self-education. At the core of Chapter 8 is this truth: your future is created by what you do today, not tomorrow. Waiting is the enemy of wealth. Whether it's buying a book, meeting with a mentor, or budgeting for your first investment, start now. It's not about the size of your step. It's about making one step in the direction of wealth every single day. What's one action you're going to take today to start building wealth? Let us know in the comments below. We'll respond and support every step of the way. And if this breakdown helped you think differently, hit the like button and subscribe to Chapters in Clarity for more rich lessons from Rich Dad Poor Dad, chapter by chapter. You've learned the mindset, the lessons, and the path. But what do you actually do next? In Chapter 9 of Rich Dad Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki gives us a checklist, a real-world action plan. If you're serious about building wealth, this is your jumpstart. Kiyosaki begins the final chapter with a wake-up call. Information is useless without action. Reading about money isn't enough. Talking about investing isn't enough. What separates the rich from everyone else is not just what they know, it's what they do with it. This chapter is all about getting off the sidelines. Your reason needs to be stronger than your excuses. Kiyosaki urges readers to find a burning desire that makes excuses irrelevant. Want freedom for your family? Want to break generational poverty? That desire must be stronger than fear, laziness, or the comfort of routine. This isn't about logic, it's about emotion that moves you. Wealth begins with knowledge. Kiyosaki recommends feeding your brain daily. Read books, listen to audio programs, attend seminars, or follow financial mentors. Turn your car into a classroom. He says the more you feed your mind, the more options and opportunities you'll see. You become like the people you spend time with. Rich Dad's advice? Find people who challenge you to grow. Avoid financial gossip. Surround yourself with people who talk about assets, strategy, and possibility. Join investor groups, mastermind communities, or online forums where growth is normal and learning is constant. Kiyosaki suggests you pick one financial skill and get really good at it. Whether it's real estate, stocks, copywriting, sales, or digital marketing, become a student of it. Specialization creates value, and value attracts money. Don't scatter your energy, focus builds momentum. Many people are waiting for the right time. But according to Kiyosaki, wealth builders learn by doing, especially when they're uncomfortable. Buy a small stock, visit open houses, attend a tax lien auction. Action creates feedback. Feedback creates growth. Even mistakes are valuable because they teach faster than books ever will. Want more money? Give more value. Want better relationships? Become more valuable in those relationships. Kiyosaki teaches that the rich focus on serving first. They ask, how can I solve a problem? How can I create something useful? That's how money flows to them, not by chasing it but by attracting it through service. This habit separates financial winners from paycheck-to-paycheck living. Kiyosaki says always set aside money for investments and assets first. Before bills, before rent, before luxuries. This creates pressure to find more money, to grow, to create solutions. It's a bold move. And boldness often unlocks wealth. If you're going to win financially, get used to trying, failing, adjusting, and trying again. Kiyosaki reminds us that the rich aren't always smarter. They're just willing to learn in real time. Each setback becomes a stepping stone. It's not about perfection, it's about progress. Kiyosaki closes the book with this challenge. Don't just read this book. Do this book. It's time to choose. Will you let life happen to you? Or will you apply the principles and take control of your financial destiny? Which of these steps are you going to take this week? Drop your action plan in the comments and let us know. We're building a community of doers, not dreamers. And if this book changed your perspective like it did ours, hit the like button and subscribe to Chapters in Clarity. More powerful book breakdowns are on the way. Want to know the exact steps Robert Kiyosaki used to develop his millionaire mindset? In this final chapter of Rich Dad Poor Dad, he gives us 10 powerful steps to awaken what he calls your financial genius. These aren't just motivational ideas, they're practical shifts in how the rich think and act. Let's break them down. Step 1. Find a strong reason why. Without a clear purpose, it's easy to give up. Rich people have emotional fuel, whether it's freedom, security, legacy, or impact. Kiyosaki says your why needs to be bigger than your fear or laziness. What drives you? That's your starting point. Step 2. Make daily choices that build wealth. Every dollar you spend or invest is a decision. Do you buy liabilities or assets? The rich choose to buy things that make money. Kiyosaki emphasizes the power of small, consistent choices, because they become habits and habits become destiny. Step 3. Choose your teachers wisely. Not all advice is created equal. Learn from people who have done what you want to do, not just people who talk about it. If you want to become an investor, study successful investors. If you want passive income, find someone who's built it. The source of your education matters. Step 4. Master one formula, then learn new ones. Rich Dad taught Kiyosaki to first master the formula of working to buy assets, then expand. Too many people skip around without depth. Learn how money works deeply in one area: real estate, stocks, business, etc. Then evolve. Mastery leads to wealth. Step 5. Pay yourself first. One of the most controversial and powerful principles in the book. Set aside money for yourself, for investments, savings, and assets, before you pay bills or spend on anything else. This creates the pressure to earn more, think creatively, and stay disciplined. Step 6. Pay well for good advice. The rich don't avoid professionals, they invest in them. Accountants, lawyers, mentors. Kiyosaki says it's smart to pay skilled advisors who help you grow and protect your wealth. Cheap advice can be the most expensive mistake you ever make. Step 7. Be an action-oriented learner. The best way to learn about money? Get in the game. Attend a seminar. Analyze a real estate deal. Start a side hustle. Kiyosaki urges us to stop being learners only and become doers. Yes, you'll make mistakes. That's the point. You learn faster by doing than by only reading. Step 8. Stop doubting yourself. Fear and self-doubt kill more dreams than failure ever could. Kiyosaki says you'll never feel ready. The wealthy aren't fearless, they just act despite fear. Courage is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. Step 9. Keep learning and growing. Never stop investing in your mind. Kiyosaki reminds us that financial genius is not a gift. It's a skill anyone can grow. Read books. Ask questions. Take courses. Every dollar spent on education is a seed for future wealth. Step 10. Give and you shall receive. This final step might surprise you. The rich understand the principle of reciprocity. When you give your time, your money, your help, you open the flow for wealth to return to you. Generosity is not just moral, it's smart. Giving creates connection, impact, and abundance. Your financial genius is already inside you. These 10 steps aren't theory, they're habits, mindsets, and real-world tools that change lives. If you follow them consistently, the results can be transformational. Which of these 10 steps are you committing to today? Drop it in the comments. Let's build a community of action takers. And if this chapter inspired you, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to Chapters in Clarity. We're just getting started with books that change lives.